welcome back, or welcome to whichever you may find yourself today. Is this your first episode or the 100th and something? I actually have no idea what episode we're on. 115. Bam! But we're once again here in the basement of Physique Magnifique, the home of IPC, that's Intuitive Protection Concepts. That guy right there. School under my name, blah, 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 all this, all that. He passed it on to me. We just move on. The point is, this is a great place for people to learn and grow. A lot of great professionals, depending on whether you just want to get healthy or you want to get ripped and, show off on stage and compete, because they do that here too. But anything that you'd like to do health-wise, you could probably find it here. So if you're in the area, please stop by. And if you're just visiting, stop on by anyways. Our card's upstairs. You can get a hold of us. We live nearby. So, shout out to Physique Magnifique. Thank you very much for making this our home. Now, today's conversation got a little wonky on me because it's it precludes something that I haven't thought about too much, and now I can't stop thinking about it. And that's, when is it time to leave your master? In any relationship, there's always a point where there's some separation needed, I guess. In the martial arts world, we definitely revere our instructors. We hold them to a pedestal, which may or may not be a good thing. We've had other conversations on the topic. To each their own. You guys figure that out for yourselves. But at what point do we say, I'm not growing anymore, I need to seek something else? And before that, is it even respectful or is it disrespectful to acknowledge that, hey, where I am right now, I'm no longer learning anything more significant. I need to look elsewhere. I need to move on. Cross-training is a big conversation that a lot of people have had, that and people will swear up and down that you need it. And then there are others that, whoa, you haven't fully understood the system yet, so maybe you shouldn't go. So there's both sides to this, but ultimately the idea behind it is, when is the right time to ask yourself that question first and foremost? And then what are the criteria that you're really looking at to decide whether or not this is the correct move for you? And frankly, I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants right now because, again, it's not what I've really thought about too much. I mean, eventually, Rico's probably just going to kick me out, and he said so as much, so it's not like it's going to be a surprise. But knowing him, he might actually literally kick me somewhere. And that's might be my wake-up call that I need, but it's a personal thing to take control of. Your growth after a certain point has to be your own. It has to be something that you need to push and figure out what it is that you actually need, if that's something that you want. If you're just there because you enjoy the class, you're friends with the instructor, and you're just having a good time, yeah, stay. I don't see any problem with that. Great camaraderie. That's awesome. But for someone like me, and I know there's others out there who are very similar in mindset, we want to keep sharpening our skills. We want to keep growing. We want to keep expanding what we know, what we understand, and becoming better at what we do. Becoming more efficient martial artists, becoming stronger martial artists, more flexible, or just simply more badass. That's totally my goal. I know, sounds silly, but it is my goal. I want to get better at what I do. And at what point do I have to look at my instructor and say, I'm not learning much more from you? Not that I'm not going to come back to him or completely X him out and we're never going to talk again. I turn my back on you. That's it. Cut off. No, it's just about having to seek things that are going to benefit me beyond what I was taught by him, beyond the information that was given. Great information. And we'll probably still get together and have conversations, and he'll have ideas because he's also constantly growing. And that's the kind of thing that I want to emulate. because as far as I've known him 9+ years, he's nowhere near where he was when we first started. He's a hell of a lot better than he was back then, and I've grown too. So our growth has been even, in a sense, but he's still way up here in my mind. I still try to hurt him all the time, as much as I can, as often as I can, and I take his lessons to heart, and he sees that I do. But yeah, the more that he comes up with ideas, the more that he breaks down things, the better he gets. In his mind, he understands where he needs to go and how to get there more efficiently. And ideas pop up, concepts, and we collaborate on those things, and we put them together, and then we show them to the other students, and you see the growth. So it's a constant evolution of your own mind. And he's proven time and time again that that is one of the best ways to really get better at your craft. And that's what I want to emulate, that process, that ideology. But a lot of it comes from him. Right now, a lot of the ideas he gives to me. He shares with me. Or I share with him my input on it, and we change them together. But I can't say for a fact, oh yeah, I came up with that completely myself, all on my own. This is 100% just me. But I want to get there. And it might not be possible being under his wing to do so, or to accomplish that. Because then he's just there. You kind of take for granted that information. Personally, I feel like we should have a very public, like, falling out, where we just cuss each other out, and we're just going to go our separate ways, but then have to come back because he's my right. Like, that's how I envisioned it. And the only reason I envisioned that is because sometimes there have been people who didn't get the choice, didn't get the chance to get to a point where they say, I need to move away from this person, or I need to seek something else, or more information, or deeper knowledge from somebody else, or from some other source. Because people have falling outs. People really do have moments where it's like, whoa, I can't stand you anymore. I disagree with you so much. I dislike your character, your personality, to the point where I can't be in here, in this environment anymore. And it's not that we still don't respect these people. And just to be clear, I'm not saying that's happened to me. I'm just saying I've heard that these things have happened to people, where they have that falling out with their instructor, and they no longer talk to them. They no longer see them. I mean, Horatio gave us an example of his instructors on their deathbeds, and he was still trying to get, I think they were brothers or like brothers, and they were still feuding for whatever reason. I don't think either of them remembered why. They just knew they were mad at each other for so long that it became a habit. And it sucks. And there's a lot to be said about that. But those people didn't have a choice. And as I'm thinking about this, maybe sometimes that's needed, though. Maybe sometimes you get so comfortable with where you are that you really do need that swift kick in the ass to say, wake up. It sucks that it comes in the way of a relationship falling apart between you and your instructor, but maybe that's what's going to propel you forward, to keep on growing, to seek new avenues, to look for information that you weren't aware of before, that didn't exist, because you get really comfortable in your cocoon. And part of that, I believe, is because we do hold instructors on such a high pedestal. And many people stay out of pure and utter loyalty. But just like any toxic relationship, I mean, you're afraid to lose somebody, so you stay. You put up with things. You kind of brush it under the table, under the rug, and just let it go. But is that really the best choice? Is that really going to benefit you in the long run? Does it align with your goals? Well, first of all, do you even have goals to grow or get better, or get a different rank, or open your own school one day, or just be the very best you could be at all times? Like, are those things that you've considered, those things that you look for, those ideas that you've thought about? I know for those who are instructors, you opened your own school, you have your own students. Now, are you also still trying to get better? Are you still trying to hone your craft and get sharper, get more knowledge, or whatever the case may be? However you will evaluate that progress, that growth, are you doing it yourself? Are you also pushing it? Do you look back at the lessons from your instructors and you realize, holy crap, I misunderstood that for years and now I finally get it? I know that's happened to me several times. Recently. But that's required. You really do have to reflect on the things that you know and understand to be able to look at them, and do they stand true today as they did back then? Or have you learned other things that you can now add to it and make it grow? Is there new things that you know that can help you cut some of that fat, simplify it, make it more effective? These are all things that have to come from your own mind, in my opinion, for them to be meaningful, for them to actually make a difference in what you do. And being comfortable in a place with your instructor might not be the best environment for you to get those thoughts in motion, to really figure out what it is that you need as an individual, as a practitioner, for you to get better. Instruction is great, but some people just get way too complacent with it. And I'll be the first to tell you, I've done so many times, and I've had to get reminded several times that get off your ass. Stop being okay with what you have now and work a little harder. And that's become a mindset. And even though I now feel that I do put a lot of effort outside of class, not just as a teacher, not just as a student, but outside of that, as a person. I'm training, I'm reading different things, I'm looking for different sources, I'm talking to different people. I'm constantly trying to fill my head with more ideas and concepts and training and other things that will help elevate me as a martial artist, as the human weapon that I've called myself in the past, because that is an idea that I hold dear from my original instructor. We are the weapon. That was one of Danny's commandments. And because of that, I'm honing this weapon as best as I can, and more importantly, sharpening the mind. Because that's what's going to drive the weapon, that's what's going to make it effective, that's what's going to keep me safe and keep people around me safe. And hopefully avoid getting hit in the head a lot. Sparring's fun, it really is, even though you do get hit in the head a few times. But that's another way that I'm now kind of pressure testing a lot of the ideas that we've been learning. Sparring with my fellow students who are ranking up very quickly, who are really dialing in all their techniques and all their concepts, and just getting to see that growth, and then feeling that, damn, these guys can kick really freaking hard and really high. Some of these 14, 15-year-old kids in my class with GM Bob, God, what I wouldn't give to have that raw, natural talent that these guys have. So instead I have to supplement it with study, with more training, with extra hours practicing. You know, and that's what I have to do for me. Whatever you have to do for yourself, hey, find the time, make the time. Take 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Maybe start with the question, am I still growing where I am today? If the answer is yes, then yeah, keep on doing it. If the answer is no, maybe it's time to reconsider other avenues, other ideas. Maybe leaving where you are right now to just kind of push yourself. And then coming back and realizing that you didn't understand half the shit that you thought you did. Who knows? Just part of the growth. Oh, before I go, I just want to remind people, for those in the OKO, September 30th in Pleasanton. OKO is the 15th annual, I can't say his last name, Ordanes? Ordanes? Kaju Camp organization. I'm sorry, Senior Grandmaster. I really am. But I'll practice. I'll practice. But it is on the 30th in Pleasanton, so please, for those of you who haven't gotten your tickets, your registration and all that, please take care of it as soon as possible. Otherwise, I believe you can still do it at the door. But yeah, still bring money also for it. But thank you very much for joining me on another one of Nian Shorts. Hopefully it was entertaining at the very least. And until the next one. 3, 2, 1, cut!